For nearly a decade, I had patrolled national parks, yet this was my first assignment in Black Hollow Forest. An ancient, sprawling expanse of towering pines and dense undergrowth, it was a labyrinth where those who strayed too far often never returned. 3 nights ago, a seasoned local hiker named Ethan Keller vanished. His vehicle remained undisturbed at the trailhead. No distress calls, no evidence of a struggle, just another name added to the long history of disappearances whispered among the locals yet never explained. I believed in logic, rationality, accidents, disorientation, the merciless indifference of nature. These were the usual explanations. Yet, as I ventured into the woods, a peculiar stillness settled around me. Not mere silence, but an absence, an erasure of sound, as though the forest itself had been hollowed out. By midday, I found Ethan's campsite, a single, partially collapsed tent, a fire reduced to cold embers. His backpack remained zipped, untouched. There were no signs of an animal attack, no blood, no signs of struggle. Yet something felt profoundly wrong. His footprints led away from the site, and then abruptly ceased, mid-stride, as if he had been plucked from the earth. Then I noticed the trees, claw marks, deep, methodical gashes too high for any known predator. Parallel grooves scored the bark, stretching for miles along the trail, a deliberate signature etched into the landscape. That I reached for my radio to report my findings. Static, not unusual in dense forests, yet the silence now felt oppressive, a suffocating weight pressing in. I was not alone. I should have turned back. Instead, I pressed onward, tracking the faint disturbances in the underbrush. The daylight diminished unnaturally fast, shadows stretching impossibly long. Instinct told me to stop, to make camp before nightfall. Yet I ignored it. Then, I heard it. A voice, distant, fractured. Help me. I froze. Ethan's voice, or something imitating it. The cadence, the inflection, uncannily precise, yet fundamentally wrong. I unholstered my flashlight, scanning the canopy. Nothing. Then a shift, a ripple in the foliage, a disturbance beyond my field of vision. The forest exhaled, and with chilling certainty, I realized I was being watched. That night, sleep was impossible. The sounds began after midnight. A resonance, an alien clicking akin to an insect yet impossibly deep, reverberating through the trees. The leaves rustled in synchronized patterns, independent of the wind. Something moved above me, unseen but deliberate, circling. My fire dwindled, an inadequate barrier against the encroaching dark. Then motion, a silhouette at the fringes of perception. Too tall, too thin, black, reflective eyes absorbed the light. The hollow stalker had found me. It did not attack. Not yet. It was patient, savoring the unraveling of my composure. Psychological disassembly before the physical strike. My fingers clenched around the hilt of my knife, a feeble, useless gesture. My firearm rested at my side, yet an unshakable certainty told me that conventional weapons would mean nothing against what lurked beyond the fire's glow. Survival hinged on a single objective, enduring until dawn. When I fled, it followed, not in a reckless pursuit, but with meticulous precision. It funneled me, dictated my path. Every route closed in, driving me deeper. My compass spun uselessly. Panic gnawed at my rationale. I fired into the darkness. The response, a shriek, layered and discordant, reverberating through my bones. Then, it moved. A blur of serrated limbs and chitinous plating. Impossibly fast. I stumbled, lungs burning, vision narrowing. Then, through the thick undergrowth, a structure, obscured by time and decay. An abandoned ranger station. 1 chance. Reach it. Barricade. Survive. I crashed inside, slamming the door shut, shoving debris against it in a desperate barricade. My flashlight flickered, a failing ember in the oppressive void. Then, the sound began. A slow, deliberate scratching, a measured patience, the certainty of inevitability. I seized my radio, whispering an emergency call. Static, no response. The walls shuddered as something massive leaned against them, testing their integrity. Not attacking, assessing. Then, silence. The door creaked. My grip tightened around my weapon that a sliver of dawn fractured the darkness. And just as abruptly as it had begun, the presence outside receded, melting back into the forest, but it had not retreated, only delayed the inevitable.